Militam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namah Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Sayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Svapadandigam Adadanastanandan Daividam Yache Puna Puna Srimad Rupa Padambujo Dhurisyam Janma Janmani Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare. His Grace Surabhi Prabhu Ki. So we're all gathered here today on this ISKCON day, Krishna ISKCON of Shravan month. And practically, ISKCON was practically 11 days ago that our Surabhi Prabhu left this world. And we're sitting here in this beautiful Radha Ras Bihari temple that was actually built by him. We're sitting at the lotus feet of Sri Sri Gaurnitai Sri Sri Radha Ras Bihari Lalita Visakha Sitaram Lakshman Hanumanji, and sitting at the lotus feet of Srila Prabhupada. So we're very fortunate. We owe a huge debt to those original devotees who struggled like anything. Now we're staying here, everybody's got nice AC office, nice desk and computer and everything. But those devotees were staying in the most austere conditions, serving Srila Prabhupada, so that those of us who are coming later, we can relish this wonderful Radha Ras Bihari temple. But they struggled like anything. Unfortunately, I never had so much association with Surabhi Prabhu. When I joined Vrindavan temple, he had his office there. I had some association with him, but mostly myself and Pundarik, we were traveling. But recently, we had the 40th anniversary of Krishna Balaram temple, and after 30 years, Surabhi came. Of course, I guess before that, 2 or 3 years before that, he came, but he didn't speak or do any public programs that time. Because as we know, he had left active devotional service. He was living in Hong Kong with his soulmate, and he was feeling the devotees may not, he told us, he said he was feeling devotees, they may be upset with him. So somehow they convinced him to come a couple of years ago to Vrindavan, and he saw how warm and friendly the devotees are. Because devotees are always merciful. We know that Kali Yuga is a very difficult time, and we may have some troubles in our spiritual life, but the devotees are always very merciful. So then he gladly accepted to come for the 40th anniversary festival. And that was an eye-opener for all of us, because all of us have heard the stories of how Prabhupada criticized him like anything and was chastising him like anything. We've heard Gurudas tell the story, we've heard Jamunas tell the story, heard Chamsundars tell the story, Gunardava tell the story. Everybody was frightened. They were all happy they weren't on the hot seat. But in the 40th anniversary, just a couple of months before, Surabhi came, he gave his side of the story. He was in ecstasy because Prabhupada was personally training him. I was so happy to hear his side of the story because everybody else was, they were afraid, they were glad they weren't the architect, you know. But Surabhi, he was very happy. He felt Prabhupada is personally training me and taking personal attention. He was very happy. So we were very grateful to hear that side of the story. And I remember when I first met him in Vrindavan, because I was very new to Indian Yatra, although I visited for Mayapur festivals, I never stayed. And I had a lot of stomach problems. And Surabhi said, that's good, that means you're not attached. If you're having loose motions, that means you're not attached. He said if you were constipated, then you would be attached. So, and then when we had the memorial service in Vrindavan, I was surprised to hear so many things. Not only Vrindavan temple, not only this Radharas Bihari Mandir, but also Hyderabad temple, Prabhupada's Samadhi, Prabhupada's Puspa Samadhi, the Krishna Balaram temple in Bhubaneswar also he designed, and he helped with Dallas temple. Gurukula building also. The list goes on and on and on. Surabhi may have left, but he has so many projects where his name will always live forever in the hearts of the devotees. Like that. And I saw he was a very, because I didn't get much associated, but I saw he was very serious devotee. He was very man of principles. That time many things were going in Vrindavan. He was very upset and he was trying to reveal. Later it became all rectified. But I saw that he was a man of principle. And he was very serious. And actually, he became a devotee here in your Radharas Bihari temple. He told us how, actually he had associated with the devotees in Amsterdam because he's from Holland. Anybody who's been to Europe, you can see this is a typical Dutchman face. So he's originally from Holland, and somehow he ran into the devotees and they were trying to make a temple. They found out he was architect, so he gave them some designs. It was simple. Those days temple meant we rented some house and painted it funny colors. So he helped them to some extent and got a little introduction to Krishna consciousness. But then he thought, let me go to India, because not only was architect, he was also, he was a filmmaker. So let me make a film on Indian culture. So he landed in Bombay and he got a big shock. He was expecting, see some Indian culture here, and he saw big buildings and motor cars and everything was almost just like Europe, just a little toned down. And somehow he wasn't impressed by the temples. He said, I saw this Ganesh temple and Hanuman temples and other temples, Durga temples, but I couldn't find a Radha Krishna temple. I was looking for a Radha Krishna temple. And somebody pointed him toward Nariman Point, said, you go there. And then he remembered that devotees must be here. So he asked if there's some Radha Krishna temple where there's some foreigners. And everybody pointed down the street and he saw this big tall building. Didn't it all look like a temple? When they got there, they told him you have to go up a lift. I don't know which floor. Which floor were they on in Akashaganga? Who knows? Anyway, he never had such an idea that going in a lift to a temple, this was also strange. And he came to whatever floor it was, he came out and Tamal Krishna's, that time she was his wife, Madhuri Dasi was there. So she invited him in. He said, our deities are very beautiful, come sit down. The devotees are coming in a little while. So he sat down, he saw beautiful Radharas Bihari, and he was sitting there, nothing new, nobody was around, there was no one there. And so he got up to leave and she said, no, wait, the devotees are just now coming. And just at that moment, about 20 devotees burst into the room with a big kirtan. They'd been on in Harinam. And all these devotees with bright faces burst into the room and they were chanting and dancing. And they saw this new boy is there. They said, you're lucky, we're going to our new property day. This is our last day here. We're going to Juhu. And so then they packed everything up and they put it in 5 different taxis, and he wasn't really part of the scene, but somehow he became part of the scene. And then they took him to Juhu, and then they asked him to pay for all the taxis, so he paid. Then they saw he had camera equipment and other things, so they said, you have a recorder? He said, I have a camera too. And he said, no, we just need a recorder. We need someone to record Prabhupada's lecture. He said, I have a recorder. One of those old tape recorders, if anybody remembers those such things, those creatures. So they said, yeah, you sit here. There was a big chair. He saw this big, huge chair, a fancy chair was there on the Prabhupada's left side, So Prabhupada came, he sat down, and then he said, Prabhupada sort of looked, who is this? Like that. So Prabhupada gave the lecture and Surabhi recorded it. Then the next, then they slept on the roof somewhere. At that time there wasn't any facilities here, so they slept. Someone gave him a mosquito net. And they just slept on the roof. And he thought it was really nice. Until 4 o'clock in the morning, Brahmananda came and ripped his mosquito net away. He said, get up, it's time for Mangalarti. He said, what's Mangalarti? He said, get up, everybody's already up. Why are you still sleeping? Get up. Brahmananda was, although he had a heart of gold, he was sometimes a little on the outside, a little gruff. So he went to Mangalarti, he followed the morning program, and then somebody told me, Prabhupada wants to see you. So he came upstairs. Prabhupada was staying with some South Indian family. Maybe somebody remembers. Huh? Padmanabhacharya. He was, because there wasn't any place for devotees to stay that time. So Prabhupada was staying with Padmanabhacharya, and they asked Surabhi to come there. So Prabhupada said, do you know what is a fire sacrifice? And Surabhi had no idea. He said, because tomorrow we're having initiations. You can also get initiated. Is it okay? He didn't know what is initiation. What is a fire? What is initiation? He didn't know anything. So he just, somehow or other, Krishna put him in a mood. He was just, whatever was happening, he seen that seemed to be what was supposed to be. So he just went, yes, all right, we'll get initiated tomorrow. So the next day he got initiated. And in the ceremony, he couldn't understand what Prabhupada said. So he thought his name was Zorro. Now, that probably goes over most of your heads, but those of us who are young from America, Zorro was a famous guy who used to have a sword and carve in people's cloth, a Z. So for 2 days he thought his name was Zorro. Then he asked somebody, and then they told him, no, your name is Surabhi. So in this way he joined here, and he was the first devotee to join in Juhu property, actually. So we're very, very fortunate today. I could say some more things, but I didn't have so much association. Only thing I wanted to say was that we remember in Vrindavan, our old friend Mr. P.L. Sethi, he used to come and he would tell about how when they decided to build rooms on top of the existing building because there was nowhere to build, then P.L. Sethi was doing that building, and he met Prabhupada one day after work, and Prabhupada said, so you are building rooms for my devotees? He said, yes, Swamiji. He said, then Krishna is building your room in the Golok Dham. He said, but Prabhupada, I'm not a devotee. He said, no, I have seen it. Krishna is building your room in the Golok Dham. And P.L. Sethi used to say when he would come to Vrindavan and tell us the stories, every year he would do a full bangala for Banki Bihari, then he would do program in our temple. So he said, I was not even devotee, I was just serving Prabhupada's disciples. So those people who are actually serving Prabhupada, he said, my room is being made in Golok. What will happen to those people who are actually serving Srila Prabhupada? What to speak of building the Radha Ras Bihari temple, the Krishna Balaram temple, the Samadhi Mandir, Puspa Samadhi, Hyderabad temple, so many. We can't even imagine the destination of Surabhi. And we saw, though he was away from devotional service for 30 years, in the end, Prabhupada brought him back to Vrindavan, let him leave his body there. But he wasn't ready to leave. When he first came in Hong Kong, he was very, very sick. He wasn't eating. As soon as he got to Vrindavan, he started eating 3 meals a day. But he wasn't one to rest on his laurels, that I've done so many things, so no need to do anymore. He started talking about, I'm going to get an apartment here in MVT, this nice place, then we'll do this. He was still ready to serve Srila Prabhupada. He wasn't really, all right, my destination is assured. He was still ready to do service for Srila Prabhupada, and I'm sure Prabhupada is somewhere he needs an architect, so that's where he called Surabhi back to build a new temple somewhere where Prabhupada is preaching. Surabhi Prabhu ki!